What's up, y'all? It's Rod. So the other day I was on a gig and the sax player started playing Ready and Able, which is a really hip, it's a really hip rhythm changes melody by George Benson off the Cookbook record right here. So I'm gonna show you guys how to play Ready and Able. I'm gonna go through the melody at tempo. It's a pretty burning tempo. George Benson, Ronnie Cooper, Lonnie Smith, and I forget who's on drums on this. But anyway, you can see the record here and you can download it. It's awesome. This is probably, this as well as it's Uptown. I think I may have said this before, but you definitely need to have these as a jazz guitarist. You should have these two albums in your repertoire. They're awesome. It's George Benson at his best. And he's always at his best, but this is like prime Benson. So anyway, let's go through this melody. It's called Ready and Able, and here we go. So let's break this melody down, and let's start by slowing it down first because it's at a pretty swift tempo. So I'm gonna play it slow. The intro line is this, and you can explore some other fingerings, but this is the fingering that I found to work for me. So here we go. That's the first part of the that's the first intro statement, and then he just moves that down a whole step. So play that. Starting on the 7th fret, this is the A. And I got a question, somebody sent me a question in my inbox asking why do I do this on acoustic. So the secret, if you don't know, and I don't mind sharing the secret, to build finger speed and dexterity, if you have an acoustic, typically, most often than not, your acoustic strings are going to be heavier than your electric strings. And if they aren't necessarily heavier, they're going to be off the fretboard a little bit more. Typically, the action on acoustics is set a little bit higher than the action on your electric. So I tend to practice on my acoustic so that way when I switch to my electric guitar, my fingers are flying, you know, or at least they're going a lot faster than on my acoustic. So that's just a little tidbit before we get started. I just wanted to let the person who emailed me wanted to know, hey, why you always record using your acoustic guitar? And that's the reason why, because when I'm practicing, I practice on the acoustic so that when I play my electric, my hollow body or my Strat or my Telly, that my fingers are like, it's just like, you know, you're working out, you know, you lift heavy weights. So, you know, the lighter things are just like a walk in the park. So I would caution you, if you have an acoustic, start practicing on your acoustic guitar because like I said, the action typically is higher than the action on the electric. So your fingers will have a tendency to play with more fluidity if you practice on an instrument that has a higher action setting. But anyway, so let's go back. So we got this. Same thing down a whole step. Then I'm using my pinky. So once again, that's. So let's get all of that. Then he goes. So let's get that. Hopefully you can see the fretboard. So we got, now I'm jumping here. Like I said, this is the fingering that works best for me. You might want to, some people may want to play it down here. You can play it here if it's easier for you, but I just prefer to jump. Same thing again. Then it goes to the bridge. It goes. That's a quick, just kind of like glitz. Then he does the same thing down, whole step. Then George jumps up here, but this isn't necessarily a part of the melody. He does that, so just as a call and response thing. So you got, again, and actually because he's having to jump back to the melody so quickly, he kind of doesn't even really play the entire figure. So I would say, you know, you can leave it out if you want to be ambitious. Just, you can jump back on the pinky if you want, or you can just leave it out because it's really not a part of the melody. It's just something that, well, I take that back. It becomes a part of the melody because it was on the record, right? But I would say you can take it or leave it. You know, it's just an extra little call and response line that George played to basically answer Ronnie Cooper's sax melody where he plays in the middle of the phrase. So once again on the bridge, and it starts as it ends as it starts. And then we're in the solo part. And the solo is just B flat rhythm changes. So hopefully that helps. I'll go over it. Let me go over this part one more time because it's really not that hard. It's just at a very fast tempo. So here we go. Jumps. Then it starts. Then it goes into the rhythm changes. But that little phrase is played before each solo, obviously. So I would just say, go and check out the record, the Ready and Able. I appreciate the request that you all have, as well as the questions, and hopefully this helps.